any time prior to the start of the meeting and provide their name, address, and subject matter about which they wish to speak. Persons must be present if they wish to address the council. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Open forum is not intended to require council or staff to answer impromptu questions. Speakers will address all comments to the entire council as a whole and not one individual member. Discussions between speakers and members of the audience will not be permitted. Speakers will maintain decorum at all times. Speakers are expected to be courteous and respectful at all times, regardless of who occupies the council chairs. These guidelines will help to ensure that a safe and productive meeting is held and that all those wishing to address the council will be afforded the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Cole.
It's Jean Marie Cole, and I live at 705 Valdese Street, where I have resided for 30 years. And I wanted to share my vision about Valdese tonight. It said, preserve the small town USA that Valdese has been over the years, that so many people have been attracted to. Attract more contractors and skip the developer. Contractors build houses and sell them to individuals who raise families, and those children often stay in Valdese. This causes a good tax base and it creates a stable population. Developers build large complexes that they manage for many years, which creates a very healthy income for them. A complex of 10 units on a piece of ground, 1 story high, is 10 units. If you go 2 stories high, it's 20, and if you go 3 stories high, it's 30, which is the common height they built. Those 30 units sit on the same piece of ground. Those developments stick out like a sore thumb among the single-family homes they often are next door to. Frequently, they don't even produce the tax base that you think they would due to federal financing rules and concessions secured by the developer from his financing of the project. And sometimes, even those that we think we were going to help to get a place to live, don't get to live there because their modest income just exceeds the limits. These residents are a less stable population. Many of them want to own a home too. When they are able to purchase that home, they will move to available ones in the surrounding area, as there won't be any here. And I think of Conley Springs, Rutherford College, and Drexel that sit all around us. Valdese offered multi-level income houses, from very expensive houses to fixed income units. It provided many services to our residents. It has a great parks and recreation division and their facilities, and it has a very nice school system. It's what draws people to come here, a safe, affordable place to live and to raise their families. A home of your own, it's still the American dream. Note that Habitat for Humanity works very hard to help people build homes that they can be a homeowner for one of their own. As you make decisions for the town, don't fall prey to the lure of the dollar. Keep the American dream alive and flourishing in Valdese.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, council, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda that council wishes to be removed? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second, please.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carries. Okay, council, before we move item 7, new business, before we move to item A, I need to entertain a motion to remove the closed session from our agenda, which is item 10. Since our regular attorney is not present, we need to remove the closed session from the agenda, please.
So
I move that
moved.
we remove the closed session.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, council. Okay, item A. Council, the next item under new business is a public hearing for a text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance. And this will be presented by Daniel Odom from COG. Since this is a public hearing, I'll now declare the public hearing open. And Daniel, sir, if you'll come and make a presentation, please.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So the item before you, as the mayor said, is a proposed text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance's effective date. As I've shared previously, this is largely a housekeeping and technical matter in response to the downzoning statutes approved by the General Assembly in December of 2024. The current effective date of the UDO is July 31st, 2025. This text amendment would extend that effective date to January 1st, 2026, and would also extend the selection window in which potential development applicants can choose whether they want to be looked at under the old zoning ordinance or the new Unified Development Ordinance to January of 2026 as well. The reason for that delay being to give the General Assembly time to essentially reauthorize municipal downzoning authority and allow us to move forward with the Unified Development Ordinance. All public notice requirements have been met. The Planning Board found this amendment to be consistent with the Valdese vision and also provided a favorable recommendation to the council. If it is the council's wish to move forward with this text amendment as proposed, it would require two separate actions, one being the actual adoption of the amendment to the ordinance, and the second being the consistency statement accompanying said ordinance. Thank you.
Questions, council? Okay, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak for or against this ordinance change? Okay, seeing none. Council, I need a motion to approve the text amendment to the UDO, please.
I make a motion to approve the text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. And I probably should have done this before, but I now declare the public hearing closed. Okay, and we need a motion to approve the consistency ordinance. Okay, council, any questions regarding that? If not, I'll entertain a motion, please.
Motion to accept the consistency statement.
Okay, second?
Second?
Thank you. Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Okay, council item B, call for a public hearing on October 6th regarding the CDBG grant for the Berrytown project, and I believe Bo is going to address that.
All right, so this is the Berrytown Waterline project that is being funded by CDBG dollars, several different funding sources within the CDBG program. So what this call for public hearing is just to schedule a public hearing in October, simply because we had originally requested $800,000 through the CDBG NR program, which stands for Neighborhood Revitalization Program. And so because of some construction costs that went up, they're going to give us an additional $200,000. So this public hearing is solely to notify the public of that additional funding. So
Okay, questions,
they-
council?
they've already awarded it, we have to publicly recognize that.
Okay,
The total cost of the project is how much?
It's somewhere around 3.1, 3.2 million.
And that, I think we established last week, was about 1.5 miles of water line in the triple community system. Have we determined how many total miles are in that system?
Yeah, we got 83 miles.
83.
Yes.
So for the people who we serve with the triple community water sales, some of them, I think, think the town's making a killing by selling the water to them. Let's see, if we have 83 miles, 83 miles?
Correct.
Okay. If it costs us $3 million to replace 1.5 miles, that would be about 150 million to replace all the water lines, roughly.
About roughly, yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna make a whole lot of money on that water system that we bought a few years ago, are we?
It'd take a while. Yep.
For 150 million, it'd take quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll set the October 6th council meeting for that public hearing. Thank you. Okay, council item C, capital project ordinance amendments, public safety building project. Vote.
All right, so this is in reaction to the contract with DR Reynolds for the $38,000 for their phase one. So this is simply just recognizing the funds in the project so we can legally spend them. So there's no money going in or out of the actual project fund. It's already there, revenues are already there. This is just an accounting exercise to make the legally so we can pay their invoices when they come in.
Questions, council? Okay, hearing none, let's entertain a motion to approve the capital project ordinance amendment for the public safety project.
I move that we approve the capital project amendment for the public safety building project.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I'd like to ask 2 or 3 questions about it. This amendment that we just approved is $38,000, and that is to do what? That $38,000, what is that for?
That's for the contract with DR Reynolds that was approved last month for the phase one study.
Okay. And where do those funds come from?
So they're currently sitting in the public safety building project fund. That project fund had made up of several revenue sources throughout the years. We actually created this fund back in 2019. So there was some town contributions to that fund. We put the ABC distributions in that fund, and then sale of properties as well. So all those went into that fund. So that's where the revenues are coming from to pay for something like this.
Yeah, that fund was once up to about 1.5 million, I think, but is that the fund we drew the funds out of to purchase the 215 Main Street property?
Correct. So for the life of the project fund, we brought in $2,036,000 in revenue, and we've expended $1.2 million in expenses. So that covered like purchasing the 215 Main Street. It covered purchasing the property over here. So we currently have 800,000 of that remaining in the fund.
Okay, we spent about $250,000, I think, on an architect for the Pineborough property, Pineborough building out there, right?
Correct. Yeah.
All right, and so, and I think we established last year that when the town sells parcels, those funds go into this fund, right?
Yeah, so once we established that, since that time, we've brought in $127,500 on sale of properties, and that's gone into this fund.
Okay, and if we ever sell the Pineborough property, ever close on that one, that's another 149,000, I guess. All right, and if it turns out we don't use the Main Street, the 215 Main Street property, but instead sell it, that would go back into that fund, I would presume.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So for this phase one project, what is it that we expect to get from DR Reynolds?
Well, we're gonna get a overview of their professional opinion on the options that we have laid out for them to study. And then they're gonna give us a recommendation of how to proceed. And then they'll work on a guaranteed maximum price for that option that council chooses to pursue.
So they're what they recommend will deal with construction renovation costs, is that right?
Correct.
Now, as far as the total consideration, total evaluation of their recommendation, will we be able to use the Tryon financial advisors to do some modeling for us, to let us come up with optimum financing and long-range opportunity costs and opportunity revenue possibilities? Will we be able to use
Yeah,
Tryon for that?
So we'll definitely use their services on securing the best financing we can, whatever that level is. We're still working through the financial model that we're gonna hopefully use for this upcoming budget process, but once we get to know what those prices are and what we're looking at, we can build that into that model as well. So, yes, we do plan to do that, just a timing factor if everything falls in line within the time frame that we need to put everything together.
Yeah, when I went back and reviewed the presentation that they made last year before we decided to hire them, and I think we hired them for $25,000, was it?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that they mentioned that they do is they do long-term property tax revenue projections under various conditions and assumptions.
Yep.
So we would do that with these three options or four options that would be coming in as well?
No, not with these options.
We wouldn't consider that?
No, because that model's not ready yet to do long-term projections. That's gonna be part of the budget process for next year. So as far as the options that are presented, that will be up to council to decide what direction to go. It wouldn't be based on the modeling that,
So they'll have to make the council, and it'll be the new council, won't be this council. They'll have to make that big decision without knowing what the future revenue flow will be. Is that right? They'll be making that in the dark?
okay. It won't make it in the dark because we already know what those revenue flows are. It's just importing that into the model.
Could we not get Tryon Financial Advisors to come in and help us with this, at least this much modeling as an add-on? I mean, we might be talking about millions of dollars at stake here with long-term property tax revenue projections.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I can ask them at this point what they can do, but without the model being completed, there isn't a whole lot of advisement they're gonna be able to give us at that point. So,
Yeah, I would think they're sophisticated enough they could do that. I mean, I was doing that kind of modeling 30 years ago.
Yeah, so, from what I understand, how it's gonna work is the Tron's gonna help us with the model's gonna help us with our operational budget and projection revenues for that. The project budgets, they are going to give input, but it may not necessarily be the same type of modeling that they're doing for the operational budget. We are going to involve Tron with this. I think what Bo's trying to get at, he don't want you to see the information they give you on that project and think it's gonna be the same model or same input they give us on the operational budget. We are going to incorporate them with any financing opportunities we give. The contract for the capital project is just to move money so they can give us the four options, their recommendation. Once council chooses one, we're going to incorporate not just the construction costs, but all kinds of variables into that and all kinds of data, and do the best we can to give you the most information possible. At that time, council will choose one. DR Reynolds will go back and give us a maximum cost of that option. If council chooses to move forward, then at that point, we will get with Tron and start looking at banks, the interest rate, and how much we can afford to draw down our reserves. That would lend to how much we would have to borrow, which would lend to what our payment would be and how long we finance it. I mean, this is not, there's gonna be a lot of steps along the way. This isn't one thing. I mean, there's gonna be multiple steps it's probably gonna take, it'll probably be spring of next year before we finally get all this nailed down, and that is being very optimistic, moving as fast as we
When,
can.
when did you say? Beginning?
Probably sometime next spring before we get to the point where we'd be really ready to pull the trigger on one of the final financing packages and everything. Every month, there will be something for this council to vote on to move it to the next step, and then to the next step.
And the first thing the council will vote on is choosing one of those options, is that right?
Yes.
That's what scares the bejeebers out of me, because the council is gonna be making that decision in the dark, that's my point. Because what you're gonna be looking at is construction and renovation costs. The real cost is, real upfront cost is the value of the property that's being tied up. Whatever they come up with for 215 Main as a renovation cost, that's not the cost of the project. The cost of the project is also what the property cost. The opportunity cost is what the property might sell for. The big opportunity cost is what the long-range lifetime property tax revenue would be for that property. So, that's what puzzles me about, I guess, many governmental decisions is you make a decision based on today's numbers, not what the long-range projections are. 121 Fayette Street, where we have almost 2 acres up there tied up with our present public safety facilities. That's a prime development spot. That property could be sold. If it's not sold, that's an opportunity cost. If it were sold, it would go back, it would go on the tax roll, and it could be developed into $1 million or $2 million property that would generate property tax revenue forever. So how can, those numbers are so much bigger than any construction numbers we're gonna be looking at. That's what worries me. It won't be on my shoulders. I'll be gone. But I'm concerned how anybody could make a rational decision about one of those 4 options or 2 of those 4 options if they don't know what the long-term financial impact is. So I've expressed that to all the council members. I've expressed it tonight. I don't have any more to say about it because I won't be around when it's dealt with. But I'm telling you, to me, that's a concern. In a private sector, that wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen in the nonprofit associations I manage. It wouldn't happen in any private company. It can only happen with a government entity, and I'm concerned that we're skipping a big chunk of information.
Yeah, but to answer your original question, the financial model that we're building, it will have the capability to turn off projects on and off. So if we wanted to check on one project versus another, we can. But as far as the timing with this particular project, trying to get it into that model in time for the budgeting process may be a challenge.
As the old saying goes, you put bad in, you get bad out. We don't want to rush it trying to build the model. And to your point, Mr. Harvey, I think you're correct that we do need to look at all things. When they bring back the options, if you choose option whatever it is, and we go in and we look at the long term, and it's not and it's something that we can't afford, or if it's so, that's when we drop back and hunt to a different one. But right now, the only thing DH Reynolds is doing is looking at all 3 options, bringing back in their opinion what would fit our needs, and then it's up to me and Bo and then to the council to decide if their options fits in what our pocketbook can afford, and what we would lose going forward.
But I've dealt with a lot of contractors. I fully understand what they're gonna do, and I understand the numbers that they bring back. My point is, the numbers they bring back are a fraction of what the council ought to be looking at long-term in deciding which of those options.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll entertain, we've already had a motion and a second, so I'll entertain a vote. Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, council. Item D, residency qualification for committee members. Council?
Mr. Mayor, I move to resolve that effective immediately, all newly appointed members who serve on committees or boards appointed by town council for the town of Valdese shall either be a resident of the town of Valdese or an owner or leader of a business or organization located in the town of Valdese corporate limits, specifically excluding, however, committees or boards formed by ordinance and ex officio member positions held by the town manager or any other town employee.
Okay, I have a second.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Just, the mover's only comment is that Attorney Swanson has worked on this a couple of times. I know there was some concern about pastors, but they'll be covered by this. There's concern about people who are already on committees, but this doesn't deal with existing committees. This deals with all newly appointed. So I think, I think it's sound. I haven't heard anybody object to it, so hopefully we just move on.
Okay, anyone else? Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item E, resolution on the Valdese Town Council's expectations or responsible staff regarding enforcement of zoning ordinance. Council? You have a resolution that's been presented by our manager. It appears to meet the requirements that I was looking for. but-
I move that we approve the resolution establishing the Valdese Town Council expectations for responsible town staff regarding the enforcement of zoning ordinances.
Very good. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Just to comment on that is, what do we do with all of the existing violations? And what should citizens do if they see zoning violations? How are we gonna enforce it? I mean, that's what I don't understand. The resolution is better than nothing, but it doesn't do much unless we have some way of implementing that.
Currently, we're going through the process of updating our code enforcement ordinances. Actually, our code enforcement officers in our audience right now. And we're trying to align them more with the city of Hickory because, for a couple of different reasons. The main one is our town attorney is the Hickory attorney for both of them, so he would be familiarized with both sets of ordinances for code enforcement. The second thing is, in the need of a backup or an assistance, we have someone there that can help us do this. I will say in the last couple of weeks that we have made some really big steps forward in the code enforcement area, and I think we're going to continue to do that. We are starting to not only be complaint driven, but we're also going out and being more proactive. One thing I will say that I really like about, and I think our new code enforcement officer is, the first step is not to send a letter. The first step is to knock on the door and say, hey, your grass is high, is there any way you can mow it? Is there? So, doing the community aspect of it, we've been seeing a lot more positive responses. Now, that's not to say that if it's not met and not addressed, that we won't take corrective actions, but we are aligning the ordinances better with the city of Hickory's, like I said, and we're also being more proactive.
Mr. Burns, that's all good news, and I think last Monday, we talked about setting aside the code enforcement resolution while you worked on that. This resolution is zoning ordinance, and I don't think the code officer deals with zoning ordinances, or maybe he does, I don't know. I think it's the planning office that deals with the zoning ordinances, and that's where we've had so many problems from the past, like a multifamily building in a business section of business zoning area of town that by zoning should have 1.5 parking spaces, off-street parking spaces per unit, but instead it has none. So that's what I think we're concerned about with the zoning ordinance. How do we get the zoning ordinance squared away? We haven't had a full-time zoning office for a long time, 10 years or so. Now it's served by COG, 1 day a week or something like that. But that's my, the concern, and I think this issue, this resolution has to deal with the enforcement of zoning ordinances.
Yes, sir. I apologize. You also mentioned code enforcement, so I took the opportunity to give a little bit of praise. As far as the zoning ordinance goes, we have changed our planner to a different planner. And we've also recently been able to bring in a intern with a master's that's working on his master's degree to help in that department. It's not a perfect solution, but we have seen a lot of positive feedback in the short time that Michael's been here. If nothing else, that's 3 more days that someone's in the office and that somebody's riding around town looking. We are trying to revamp it to meet as many expectations as we can.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution on the Valdese Town Council expectation for town staff regarding enforcement of zoning ordinances. And I'll entertain a vote. Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, council. Mr. Herm, sir, manager's report.
Yes, if it's okay, I'll just go from here. North Carolina bocce tournament is Saturday, September 13th at 8 a.m. at the LPDA. For more information, you can visit lpdavaldese.org. I will say on a personal note that before I became the manager here, I don't know if I'd ever played bocce or anything anything close to it. I've been fortunate enough to go up there on a couple times on Thursdays. I still am not very good, but I understand the rules now. Now that's a big step. So if you've never seen it, take the opportunity to come out Saturday 13th and enjoy yourself. The Valdese Paint Air Fest will run September 19th through the 21st with different events throughout. Reception will be held Sunday, September 21st from 2 to 4 at the Old Rock School. For more information, you can visit www.rockschoolartgalleries.com. Family movie night featuring Disney's Pixar Toy Story, Saturday, September 27th at 7:30 at Temple Field. Concessions will be available for purchase. The next review for council agenda is scheduled for Monday, September 29th at 6 p.m. here in this room. And the next regular scheduled council meeting is scheduled for Monday, October 6th at 6 p.m. in this room. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, sir. Okay, council comments.
I do have one on behalf of to discuss something that came up in our Drug and Homeless Task Force meeting this past week. Last year, we had a program that we were doing at the rec, and this was through the Drug and Homeless Task Force, where we were providing, not food, well, we did provide snacks, but we were providing showers for our homeless community. This was not done to promote unsheltered. We had citizens who were concerned possibly about this promoting more unsheltered in our area. If anything, it was a good help because we were working with Western Piedmont Council of Governments. They were coming in and actually getting to know the people. We saw a few actually become housed. We saw some who were able to be connected to jobs. We were able to connect them with our police force to where they could, in my opinion, it was good because they knew that there was a great police presence in our town, and we knew who they were. We knew them by name, which is huge when it comes to the unsheltered. So what I'm saying is that for some reason, the program, I do believe it was something to do with the insurance. It was canceled at the rec. It was a great thing that I'm telling y'all, I saw some beautiful things through that program to see the churches and different organizations come together with donations and just reaching out to them and seeing how COG was able to, that was probably my first real experience with COG and seeing what programs they had available for people in those predicaments. The only reason I'm saying this tonight is I told the group, we had some citizens who aren't usually there, who were there. And they were kind of asking questions about it. And I didn't know if there was any way that our town could possibly work with reaching out to different churches or some type of organization in the community to possibly start up a program like that again. Not because we're trying to promote, again, we do not want to see anybody homeless. We do not want to see them unsheltered. But this was such a great chance for us to talk to those people, and because they are humans. It was a great chance for us to reach out to them and say, hey, why are you in this situation? What can we do to help you? And it was really helping us get them, not a handout, but it was a hand up, because we were finding jobs, we were finding places to get them the help they needed. And it wasn't bringing in a whole group of them. It was just simply, hey, we need to get you off the street. We need to make sure that you have the resources you need. So that's just my thoughts from, because that's what the task force is for, is to possibly offer some suggestions and see where the town could help. Because if people, I think everybody deserves a shower every now and then. I mean, there's a lot of people who take a lot of care of their animals, but we tend to kick humans to the curb, and that will always be, I do have one of those hearts for people. So if you can get them a shower, a lot of times they're more apt to want to go and get a job. If I hadn't had a shower in months, it would be hard for me to want to go and do an interview. So just putting that out there. I wish we had had better luck. We were having good luck with it, but I know the circumstances are, it is what it is. But if there was anything we could do, I'm just putting it out there for, local churches, organizations who are looking to help. Maybe this would be a good way for COG to get more involved, to help the people. If we want to see it truly not be an issue, we're going to have to do something to get COG more involved with their unsheltered response team. So,
Councilwoman Ward, would you clarify who was sponsoring this program and who canceled it? Was it COG?
No, it wasn't COG that canceled it. They were actually coming and setting up. What we did was we opened the doors. Our police were there to make sure everyone was safe, and they were they would actually go speak to the people and invite them to come. So, and it's really, it wasn't COG. It wasn't, it was just basically
Did the town cancel it?
As far as I know, I don't know all the details. All I was told is that we were told we had to stop. I really wasn't given a lot of details about who made a complaint or anything. I know there was some type of complaint which sparked us having to look into other issues with it, which turned into being an insurance issue. I'm not sure how all that worked. I know it was helping the Council of Governments to actually keep tabs on folks a little better. So we knew who was in our town, and I think when you know who's in the town, it really does cut down, in my opinion, on some other issues we were having, but I digress. I don't know all the ins and outs, I just know that's what I was told.
Can I put in. So when Councilmember Ward talked to me about this, I did a little bit of research. The notes I found, this happened a while back under a different manager. The notes I found was that they reached out to somebody made a complaint, somebody brought up the insurance, so he reached out to our liability insurance cover, and they said that our current policy would not cover that. For us to have this, we would have to have a policy for each event. So if we did it every second Sunday, we would have to have a separate policy for each one of those events because the way it's structured is not covered under our current policy. And so therefore it had to stop. What we're gonna do is we're going to try to find a different location. Our police department would still be involved, but it may not be at town facilities. Maybe a church, the YMCA, I have no idea, but we are starting to look at those options.
I'm very thankful for what the Council of Governments does to help us out with that, with getting people jobs and getting them housing, because they're making a difference. So I'm thankful for what they're doing.
Thank you for your work on that, council. And our police chief, thank you for what you do also. Anyone else? Okay. I want to take the opportunity to thank our staff on another great Valdese Festival, and also for the completion of our Family Friday Night Music. The last one was this past Friday, and I think the crowds were impressive, and I'm appreciative to staff that provides that. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
So be it. Thank you, council.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.